Hello, I'm here. Hang on, data. I was in the process. The timer went off basically, which automatically threw to my front camera. And while it happened, I was typing in the comments because YouTube is coming up with an error saying it's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. And that was before it even got through the intro. I hope that that is a temporary glitch and that we are not going to be plagued by the stupid NBN problems that I seem to have just about every stream. Although luckily last stream with Austin on didn't happen. Okay, before I get into saying good morning to everybody, I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today. Sion says, what, we started a few minutes early? No, I started nearly on time, which is unusual, so it seems like it's early. So, good morning to Chip, who is outside the box, and Cable Tie. Hey, I'll get back to this in just a second, but Cable Tie came over during the week, and now Steph has a little hard hat as well. Thanks, Cable Tie. Who else? Gerald, Mr. Fix-It, Peter, already asking about lunchtime. David and Trady Trev, Soke is here. Mad Techie, welcome everybody. David Howes. I think there was a different David there earlier I said hello to. Yes, David T and David Howes. Luminator, Graham, Henrik, Imogen, and Sion. DIY in the Ghetto, Trady. Stephen Harrison is here. G'day, Stephen. Right, so lots to do. Today is, I was actually considering not streaming at all today because this week coming up is Everything Open, the big open source conference, which is normally known as linux.conf.au, or what was the one with the spacing that was wrong? I don't remember. LinuxCon FOW. But because there's not a proper LinuxConf this year, there is a kind of a placeholder conference called Everything Open, which is taking place in Melbourne this coming week, and I am helping my friend Andy to run a one-day workshop tomorrow, which is going to be basically content that was deferred from the 2022 conference. It's going to be about FPGAs and distributed sensor networks and a framework for ingesting IoT data into machine learning pipelines and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So this afternoon, after the stream finishes, I'm going to be heading down to Hawthorne to make sure that the hackerspace, which is where we're going to be running the workshop, is set up appropriately and that we've got bench space for everybody. And somewhere I have a big box full of stuff that I'm going to be taking down with the Rockling FPGA boards and the, in fact, right here, if I can drag this into view of the camera, you can just see it. So this is the conference badge with tux, and there's an ESP32 board mounted there and a big screen and touch sliders and things, and then the FPGA board mounts on that. The little fishy thing. Oh, right. Sion says, didn't even get my coffee made in time. Thought I had those extra minutes. That's all right. You can go and get it. Hang on. This is starting early this time. Just 1 second. Okay. Very good. Are they secret? Right. Cool. Oh, thanks DIY. So DIY in the Ghetto said, video looks great to me. Austin, you made it. That's fantastic because this. yeah, there are quite a few things that I could go over today, but I figured that I saw a notification for an OXRS release for firmware during the week, and I thought that because it's so... Ooh, Xeon. Okay, I'll get back to that. So I thought that today what we could do is try loading some firmware onto this, because last week with Austin on the stream, we had a look at the we had a look at his power over Ethernet auto negotiation circuit. That circuit is not on this board, but he included this in the package. So this is his power over Ethernet board with the WISNet Ethernet chip on it, and a switch mode regulator for running one of the WT30, I can never remember the name, I think it's WT32, ESP32 based touchscreens, so that you can set that up as a like a light switch or a home automation touch controller. Now this one is a brand new WT32 out of the box. It's got the factory firmware on it, as we saw last week, and I thought that what I should do is load this up with the OXRS firmware and play around with some of the tiles and things and see what we can do with it, because I want to mount that on the wall here and start using that for controlling things, lots of things. Yeah, so Austin said, yes, V 2.0.0 dropped, which adds support for the plus screen, currently Wi-Fi only. Yeah, cool. So the plus screen is the alternative hardware. So this is the regular WT32. I'm probably telling you the wrong part number there. It's something 32. And then there is the other version that Austin mentioned last week, which has... Ooh, nice. Okay, thanks, Austin. The yeah, Austin's other is LED controller is right here as well. So we could also power that up. So that is one thing that we could do on the stream today. WT32 SC01. Yeah, thanks, Austin. Yeah, I had it right up to the hyphen. The N dash, or whatever the term is. Right. So before, okay, so just throwing back to Sion's comment. KeyCAD 7.0.1 is out. Time to move me over. Yes, I really, yes, I need to check that out. Henrik said, can you peel off the film as well? It's on the screen. Yes, I will do that. I left it on and just jammed it into the enclosure last week because I was wanting to keep it safe. I thought I was probably just going to throw this back in the box somewhere, and I wanted to make sure the screen was protected. But this has the protective plastic film over it. And the little tab that you use to remove it is stuck inside the enclosure. So I'm going to have to pull it out of the enclosure to get that film off. Not that that's a problem. However, before getting into that, Stephen says, no, leave the peel. Oh, should I be taking votes? Should I put it to super chats? Whichever side raises the most money, I'll leave it on, I'll take it off. The peel is so satisfying though. So where was I? That's right. Now, something that I've been thinking about, there was a comment yesterday when I was talking to Lachlan, and we were talking about the problem that keeps coming up because of seeing people in different contexts. And by seeing, I mean interacting with people online. Like, I'm interacting with you right now through the YouTube chat. So the identities that I know, so often GitHub, so often people have different handles in those different locations, and I have no idea how to match them all up in my head. So, hang on, I have to do this. Yeah, that's not a good sign. So we've got some buffering going on. That is sucky. That YouTube heard you. Yes. YouTube is still reporting an excellent connection from my... It didn't actually show an error in mine at my end. Right, so... yeah, actually, cable tie. I was talking to Lachlan because cable tie, sorry. The context is... cable tie came over during the week and dropped in the little hard hat for Steph, the newest member of the squirrel family, and there's oops. So after cable tie had visited, Lachlan and I had a quick conversation about how we know cable tie in life. I'm not going to say cable tie's real name because of, you know, breaching the breaching reality with online and all that sort of thing. It's not my place to do that. And the whole thing about how when you can see someone in real life and know them in that context and know their real name, and then be interacting with them online, and they have a handle that is totally unrelated to their real name, and then often it's like in your head it's two people rather than the same person. And well, that's how it seems to me anyway. The conversation with Lachlan was more like a one sentence in passing. I'm expanding on the concept of what we were talking about. Yeah, Imogen says no doxing here. Exactly. I'll do my best. I have screwed up with that in the past inadvertently, and I apologise to the person I did that to. And so, anyway, where I was going with that is, what reminded me of that is this morning I got because I often get connection requests on things on my friend requests on Facebook and connection requests on LinkedIn that I suspect are people that I know through the context of YouTube, but I don't know their real name. So I get a connection request from someone that's like some random name I've never heard of before, and for all I know, it could be one of you. Like, it could be someone that I interact with all the time through YouTube, and I would very happily accept the connection request, but I don't know who it is. So, yeah. Oh, Austin's Creation says, that's why I like using the same username across things. Yeah, I do too. And Austin, you've got your actual first name in it. Many people don't want to do that. Like, there are so many reasons that people don't want to have their real world identity linked to their online identity, or, you know, it could, yeah, I won't go into it, but there are many, many totally legitimate reasons for doing that. So what I was thinking of doing was, and I think it would be cool to have more connections with people. So what I'm going to do is, if anyone wants to connect, name, yeah, Dennis, that's right. Dennis is Dentistries, Dennis Industries, or whatever the thing is. So I'm going to chuck in a couple of things. This is my LinkedIn. I'm going to throw in links into the chat. So I'm going to throw in my LinkedIn, my personal Facebook. So this is not, I think a few times. Yes, unfortunately. I know I said 2 weeks ago that I was going to undertake to get like a 4G internet connection as a backup. I really need to do that. Anyway, so my point is, I've just thrown some ways to connect in different platforms, and it would be really cool to connect with people that I interact with through YouTube and on these live streams. I'm getting warnings about dropouts again now. Still having glitchings, yes. Buffering. Oh, the lane and Simon, good morning. Jack's classic NBN being really, really bad. This is just rubbish. I don't understand how it could be so bad, just consistently bad. Yeah, if only we could connect over the internet, says Tassie. Right. Now, but the caveat is, as I was saying before, if you try to connect with me over any of those platforms that I've just posted links to, then, I don't recognize your name, then I may not accept the connection request. So if you're going to do something like, Chip asks, can I reduce the output resolution? I don't know. Yeah. With the Austin says, I wonder if it's something to do with the ATEM, because last week it had 0 issues and I was streaming in virtually. Yeah, but I was still using the ATEM. So what was happening last week is I was using the ATEM, and instead of streaming it to YouTube, I was streaming it to StreamYard, which was then aggregating with yours and going out from there. Tony, hey, good morning, Tony. And Tony says, isn't it ironic? Every time you talk about connecting, communicating with people, your feed freezes and affects your ability to communicate. Sadly, yes. So, how can it take me so long to say something so simple? Connect with me, please, through one of those platforms. But when you do, maybe say who you are. You might think it's obvious, but it may not be to me, because I might only know you as a name like Cable Tie. And if I didn't know who Cable Tie was, which I do, then yeah, you get the idea. Yeah. Right. Buffer the live stream slayer. Says Cable Tie. Buffer the live stream slayer. Imogen said, have you checked to see if cable is available at the factory? Broadband would give you a more solid connection. I don't think it is. I don't think it is in this area. This is an all industrial area, and I just don't think there is coax there. No. Right. Yeah, Tassie Bob, you're right. I am on HFC, which was barely fit for purpose when NBN acquired it. I am coming in to you live over some corroded old copper pairs that really should have been retired decades ago. Okay. Now, enough blathering around. Let's have a look at what is required to do something useful with this. Now, what can I... Tassie Bob. Tassie is a guy from Tassie with the name Bob. Yeah. Such an obscure nickname. How did you come up with that one? What am I looking for? I'm looking for the oxrs.io site. So let's... this will be an interesting little experiment, because I am coming at this essentially from the point of view of someone who doesn't really have any inside information about how this works. I have never installed the firmware for the WT32SC01 on on one of these. I don't know how to install it or anything. So let's start with the OXRS docs and embiggen. It was already embiggened. Okay, so this is zoomed in. Read docs. All right. What are we going to do today? Guides. IO Ethernet. No, we don't need guides. We need... Oh, let's have a look at getting started. IO options, controllers. No. Firmware. Nope. Yes, I know. Austin, Austin is going to be here to point me in the right direction, but I am going to steadfastly ignore Austin's help and just sort of click around in here. All right, touch displays. Touch displays, that one. This looks like the thing that we want. 3.5 inch, 320 by 480 WT32 SC01. So I'm going to approach this from the point of view of someone who is just trying to do this. Supported firmware. Places to buy it, which is cool. FAQs, oh cool. What's the little hole in the glass top of the display? We talked about that last week for a proximity sensor, yes. And there are Austin's two shields that are linked from here, Ethernet PoE shield and the DIY PoE shield. So this one here, Austin's, where are we? Yeah, that's the one that's coming, I think, the DLXRS Black. It's not ready yet. So what I have here, just scrolling down here, is oh, Imogen, thank you for becoming a channel supporter. That's really cool. Thank you. So this is the board that I have right now on sitting on here. This thing. That thing there. Now I'll try to get it positioned about in the right place. There. 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 Whoops. There. So this is the PoE shield that adds Ethernet, hardwired Ethernet to the ESP32 that is in the touchscreen controller. So this is the hardware that we've got. And thank you very much, Austin, for sending me that. That is really cool. I like it when I get presents from Austin. He sends me cool stuff. All right, so firmware that we need is this. Touch panel ESP32 uses MQTT, which is all the goodness, and it has some of the things. So last week when Austin was on, we had a brief look at some screenshots of all the different tiles and things that can go onto this. Henrik said, I didn't hear my answer. Oh, sorry, I'm missing a lot of stuff in the chat. Henrik asked, I didn't hear my answer. I asked if I connect you through Facebook. Maybe it is possible to ask your location and send you stuff. Just asking. That'd be cool, Henrik. Thank you. Yes, so friend me on Facebook. The link is back up there in the chat. So now there are, as far as I know, there are 2 Jonathan Oxers in the world. There is like this one, and there is another one, a guy in England, and I was actually born in England, but there is so the 2 Jonathan Oxers in the world were both born in England, and he is he's a lot younger than me, and yeah, so if you're searching for me, make sure that you get the one that's in Oz and looks like me, not the one that's in England who doesn't look like me. And we are supposedly somehow vaguely related, like there's some genetic connection. Where are we? That's right. I was looking at this. Firmware installation. So prerequisites, let's just have a quick look at that. So we've got the touch screen. This is the firmware, the admin UI, which I already have on my local machine somewhere. I've already got Node Red running. I've already got an MQTT broker. So I think we have everything we need except for installing the firmware and then configuring it. Yes, Celtic Beast. I haven't thought, well, sorry, I'm just being distracted by chat again. I shouldn't say it like that. It's not being distracted. Okay, firmware installation. Download the most recent Wi-Fi or Ethernet version of the firmware to a work folder created for the commissioning process. Connect the board using USB-C and ensure the dev board power comes on. And I'm getting a bunch of friend requests coming in on Facebook. I just saw notifications on my phone. So thank you. I will get to those. I won't do it live right now on the stream. I will get to that once the stream ends. But thank you to the people that have already sent me friend requests. And open the device manager app. I don't need to do that because that's a Windowsy thing, and I'm doing this on a Mac. Device is working properly. That's all USB connection stuff and USB drivers. I don't need that. ESP Home Flasher. Alright, so I just need a flasher. ESP Home Flasher is one of the ESP32 based flasher thingies. I could probably do it with ESP tool or something. Has confirmed flashing was successful. So if you need to couple to an Ethernet shield, skip now to step 15. Alright, so this is to an Ethernet shield. Yes, so we're going to have Ethernet, which means that I don't need these steps, because these are for connecting to the device. Hang on. I'm kind of jumping through here because I haven't actually seen these instructions before. This is the first time I've ever had to do this. So the process is we get the firmware, download it. We use a program running on a local computer to put that firmware onto the target board, so onto the touchscreen device. And then from that point, it looks like there are two ways that you can go. If it's just the touchscreen and you've powered it up through USB or some other way, you can then use the access point mode on that and connect to it and configure it. And Austin says, no, use the flasher. We've had issues with people trying other tools. Cool. So you then need to get the device connected to your network somehow. And the way to do that is to have the device in access point mode where you connect to it, and then you put in some config options, and then it reconnects to your local network. It's a bit of a, an Indiana Jones whipping out the skull leg of sand on the weight thing, but it works. It gets you there. It gets the device on the network, and then you can get access to it over Wi-Fi. Or if you have hardwired Ethernet, which I do thanks to Austin, we can skip that step because the device will come up and connect to the Ethernet, to its wired Ethernet network, and then we can access it that way because there's no need to configure it to connect to Wi-Fi. So I will probably configure it to connect to Wi-Fi anyway, just for the point of the exercise. But unless I am misunderstanding things, I think that is the process. So so whichever way you have made the connection, whether you have configured it to connect to Wi-Fi or you have plugged in an Ethernet cable, it says step 15 is at this point the screen of the LCD touchscreen will display a default page. Touch the settings cog icon at the bottom right of the screen to display the LCD touchscreen's MAC address and DHCP allocated IP address. Awesome. So at that point we should have the touchscreen powered up and on the network. And then it says if you have not already done so, download the RxOS web-based administration UI and point it at the IP address, and then we can configure it. Beautiful. I think even I can manage this process. Or no, another way of saying this is a really simple process, but I could even stuff this up. Alright, so ESP Home Flasher. Let's see if this is, I just woke up my voice assistant. Is it going to complain, or is it going to sit there and just flash at me for a while? Let's see. No, it just flashed at me for a while. Alright, does this run on Mac? I don't know. Let's see, is this the thing that I should be using? Pip3 install, blah, blah, blah. Linux notes, build it yourself. Where are releases? 5 releases. Okay, let's go to the current release. Contributors, macOS.tar. Okay. let's just follow the process here and see what happens. Assets, ESP Home Flasher 1.4 for Mac. Okay. Also, something that will make a couple of people happy, and I suspect Henrik is one of these people. Let me show you something. Because I've been seeing all this, I haven't been saying anything about it, but I've been seeing in the chat people referring to MCP 23017, and I just wanted to wave some of these around. I've got 4 of them here because during the week I put my son Tom onto, I set him the challenge of assembling these, and he put together 4 of them. Trying to get the light working on it, it doesn't really work. So this is the 32 port version of the the IJ45 to I2C breakout with all of the MCP 23017s on it. And so we've got 4 of them assembled. However, the next thing is we just need to do all the testing. And testing these it's not fun. They're very close. Basically, I'll have them back in stock in the online store momentarily. Hopefully, it'll be this week sometime, I guess. I've just got to test them. There is a lot of cable plugging and unplugging. Yes, Mr. Fixit says that's the one I wanted to buy, and you sent me the 24. Yes, I'm sorry. I can send you a 32 port version now. These things take so long. So there are 4 of them here sitting on the bench. It was basically a day of assembly to get 4 of these done, and we worked out that there were I think it was 484 hand soldered joints on this board. So Tommy did nearly 2,000 hand soldered joints just to do these. Cool. So Aaron said there is a specific firmware version for Wi-Fi versus Ethernet, just so you know. Aha, cool. That is good to know. Now, let's get back to our adventures in OXRS firmware land. I am just going to, I haven't got as far as grabbing the, where is it? There's my USB cable, which is plugged into the Mac Mini, and I'm going to plug that in. However, I'm first going to disassemble this because I need to get access to the USB port that is on the 01. So, got all of that out, and then that is screwed in. That's alright, that can stay screwed in. And Austin, thank you for the link to the firmware. Cool. I haven't got to the point of downloading the firmware yet. I've just downloaded the ESP Home Flasher. Okie dokie. So now, buffering again. So now I've got the board, and I'm going to plug it in, which will give is that upside down? I can't see. I think it is, which will give the test screen, that way. So this is the default firmware. Let's see if I can do it backwards, mirror style. Slide the little thing along. No, hang on, I've got to slide it. I'm looking at everything backwards in the monitor. No, left is right, right is left. That's it. So we've got that running with the factory firmware. Now, yeah, Stephen says those big plugs basically need wave soldering. Yes, they do. Yeah, or even a selective soldering machine, so we can just load it into the machine and let it go. But the labor involved in those is just in assembling those. Even without that hand soldering, just the labor involved in assembling these is a real pain. Now, Okay, firmware. So I've got a couple of firmware links. Austin and Aaron have both given me links to the firmware. So let's see, back to here. I'm not going to click on those links. I'm going to do it through the instructions. Basically, I'm following the instructions as someone else would when they first come along and see this cold. So download the most recent Wi-Fi or Ethernet version of the compiled firmware. Alrighty. And as Austin and Aaron have pointed out, we need to be careful about which one. Chip! Chip is now a silver supporter too. Thank you very much. That's very generous. Thank you. Donated by Imogen, was it? Thanks, Imi. Okay, now, so, all right, this is worth just mentioning again, even though Aaron just did it. So we've got 3 versions of the firmware here. I need to get the correct one. So this is the new 2.00 release from just a few days ago. And you can see that there is the WT32, sorry, brain fart. I'm not going to demonstrate the access point mode. It's a pretty straightforward thing. So anyway, I'm just going to go along with the hardwired Ethernet, which is the version that I want. So I've now downloaded the OXRS IO touch panel Ethernet version of the firmware. And I have downloaded ESP Home Flasher. You can't see that, it's just in my downloads folder. Oh, and of course macOS just told me that I can't launch it, so I've got to go into System Settings and Security and say, yes, run that sucker anyway. Where is it now? Open ESP Home Flasher, open anyway. Oh, now I've got to authorize it. So password and open. It's a few extra steps, but I actually don't mind that Mac OS does that. It's yeah, it's a little bit of extra paranoia. All right, so the end result is that we now have ESP Home Flasher running on here, and we have one device plugged in that it's been able to find. So hopefully that is the correct device. So browsing for firmware. What am I going to do? I'm going to go, I'm going to do this temporarily. Downloads, OXRS, where is it? I think it started with an O. Where is it in my downloads folder? OXRS IO, there we go. No, that's IO handler. What was it called? IO touch panel. Okay. OXRS. Why is that not in my downloads folder? Oh yes, there it is. Okay. So I have just found the download. So that is the precompiled binary with the Ethernet version. And let's try this. Does it... Chip says, cool, now I can lizard again. Gecko. Yes. So now you can gecko, squirrel, and multimeter. Yeah, Stephen W. points out, it means you can't accidentally download and run something bad. Exactly, so I don't resent it. It's one of those things that's kind of annoying when you download a piece of software and then it says, no, you're not allowed to run it. But it is protecting people from themselves. It's protecting me from myself. All right, I'm going to hit Flash ESP and just see what happens. Hopefully this is not going to freak out. In erasing Flash, this may take a while. So far, assuming this works, this process has been totally painless and very simple. Now, thinking ahead, I'm going to need to power this up, probably with a bit more power than I can get off USB. So I'm going to do the power over Ethernet thing. Somewhere just around here is, where is it? There's an Ethernet connection sitting here on the bench, still from last time. I'm going to be getting this going while the flash is working. So we've got, I'm going to grab an injector. What'll I do? I'm just going to use the passive injector, like the same one we were using last week. I chucked it up in a box. Bashing around the place. I chucked it up in a box up here. Oh, nice. Look at that screen. Hang on. I've got to pull this up. I've got to get this into a view where you can see it. Oh, it went away. No, hang on. I'm going to pull power and power it up again so that you can see the splash screen, because that looked fantastic. Nice work to the developers for this. So power it up and look at that. OXRS with the logo on it. That looks so cool. I love this. So that is the splash screen when it comes up, and then in a moment it is going to come to the default screen with the config link and all that sort of stuff. So, but before I do that, I am going to get the Ethernet connection ready. Yes, Aaron pointed out that I need the OXRS admin web app. Yes, we'll get to that. Thanks, Aaron. I do have that on my computer already. It may be quite out of date though, so I better... I'm trying to approach this from the point of view of starting from nothing, just arriving at the OXRS site and following the instructions. So in a moment, I will download the latest version of that to make sure I've got it, just like anybody else would if they didn't already have it. So we now have screen one. All right, I'm going to turn this off because, oh, and here we go. I'm going to peel. Here we go, peeling off the film and make sure that's all plugged in properly, and stick this into here, into Austin's 3D printed enclosure. It's got the mounting plate, but we don't need that right now. So we've got Ethernet here. So I'm going to grab a passive injector, stick that into there, and grab myself some power to go into there. Luckily, I have 12 volts right here. So I'm just going to stick that in, turn it over, and hopefully this will start up. Maybe it won't. What have I done wrong? No, there's power on this. Maybe there's not. So I'm going to grab another cable and I'll plug in a lab supply instead, because at least then I can see what's going on. Lab power supply. On the jumper. What am I? And well, it's set. Set it to 24 volts. And let's see what happens. You've broken my brain with oh yes. We were playing with the auto switch, thinking of network cable. All right, so this is a help us. That's the connection to the device. I could have used some power. All right, so now let's plug this. So now we have to get rid of that and turn off. And it's got the name. The maker is the OXRS Core Team version 2.0. It's got the MAC address. It's got the allocated IP address. The mode is Ethernet, and MQTT is unconfigured. So my guess is that the little exclamation mark there is because it is unconfigured. There's a thing there, hold to restart. There's backlight brightness. Oh, look how good this is. Change the backlight with the slider. And yeah. All right. Let's go to the admin UI, which is a web-based thingamajigamy, and we'll go back to here to do this. So the way this works is, so the ultimate goal of this, the architectural concept, is that it should be a little bit similar to something like a Unify system, where you have an admin console that allows you to manage all of the devices, which could be light switches and touchscreens and output controllers and light switch controllers and whatever they happen to be, through this admin interface. And so what you do is, instead of configuring the devices individually, you go through the admin console. And the admin, here we go. So this is what it is talking about right here. So it says, if you have this, is that it is just a .html file. You can put it anywhere and just open it with a browser, and as long as it's on as long as you have network access to the devices you're trying to connect to, it works. It's really cool. So let's go here. We'll go to download, and this is the web-based interface. So this version requires OXRS firmware with v2.0 plus of the OXRS API ESP32 lib library. Alrighty. And this is the index.html. So what I'm going to do is, I could just download yeah, okay, I'm going to be lazy and do this. I'm just going to go to index.html and should I just download this one file? No, yeah, so this is this is the thing. We won't go into that right now. No, I'm going to do this properly. All right. I am going to git clone it. So let's give me a terminal. No, that's not what I wanted. I'll move that one out of the way. That's some MQTT stuff that I was playing with previously. And I'm going to, let's see, what have I got here? All right, so I'm in my source directory, and I'm going to go git clone that. And so now I have a directory with the web interface in it. So ls minus blah ox blah blah. I now have a local copy of what we were just looking at on GitHub, and the index.html file is the one that I want. So now what I can do is, in my browser, go file, open file, and navigate to it, or I could have dragged it on there. Oh, you're going to see all sorts of stuff in here. What am I looking for? I'm looking for home folder. I'm potentially exposing all sorts of things in source, in here, index, open, and here we go. So this is the, let's zoom that in. So this is the web interface. Now, what I need to do is go back and have a quick look at the IP address. So the IP it's been assigned is .239. So what I will do back in here is go 192.168.1.239 and the administrative action, let's go set up MQTT. Select the broker. My broker is 192.168.1.185. Broker port, client ID, that's fine. Now I am going to temporarily make you look at this because I'm going to put my MQTT username and password in here. If I can remember what it is, and submit. So interesting. The little, did you notice that as I did that, the exclamation mark disappeared, which means that it has now taken the update. So if I switch back to this view, when I hit save, it says successfully updated the device. So this touchscreen should now be successfully connected to my MQTT broker. I'm not going to scroll down further than that. All right, so what other things can we do? Edit command, edit config, send command, update firmware, view system. Let's just do view system. What is it going to show us? Information about it. Heap flash, so it's a 4 megabyte chip, and program used, file system, the IP address, MAC, etc. And we can do reset type thingamajiggamies. Oh no, yeah, more live stream problems. It says no data at all now. Am I streaming over Wi-Fi by mistake? No, I've got Wi-Fi turned off. In fact, the streaming is coming out of the ATEM, which doesn't have Wi-Fi. It only works plugged into Ethernet. Yeah. Right, so where am I? Yes. Oh, Keith says we need a speaker interface like some other channel users. Yeah. The problem is that if my network connection craps itself, then you wouldn't be able to do that. Mr. Fixit asked, what is the hardware you're using? So a brief summary is that what's inside this enclosure, this 3D printed enclosure that Austin made, is a WT32SC01 touchscreen, which is an ESP32 integrated with the touchscreen, and then plugged into the back of it is Austin's Ethernet board, which supports power over Ethernet, and that's how it's getting its connectivity. You could also do it without Austin's board by connecting over Wi-Fi instead, but I'm just doing it using Ethernet and powering it over the Ethernet. Okay, so where do we go from here? How do we start setting things up? Let's go back to here. So using the displayed admin, insert the IP address, choose the MQTT setup. Yes, we've done that. Fill out MQTT, and the yellow warning triangle displayed bottom right of the screen should now have disappeared, which it has. So we have now successfully got to step 18. It sounds like there are a lot of steps, but it's actually pretty easy, as you've just seen. All right, so API, downloads, supported hardware, etc. All right, now I want to do some things with it. So it implements the OXRS REST API endpoint so that you can configure the device, send commands, perform OTA updates, restarts, and factory resets. Now, how do I go about putting some tiles and things onto this? Mr. Fixit said, is that a WT32SC01? Yes. All right, so Austin says, I recommend a restart, then go to the Node-RED flow. Cool. Austin says, don't do config via the UI, at least not yet. All right, so we will do it through Node-RED. Now, right, restart. Just because I'm curious about it. Let's see if I can do a restart from here. It says hold to restart. Okay, so I'm going to hold that, and now it's restarting, I guess. Looks like it. Should come up with the OXRS logo, and then we should be back in the regular interface once that has finished. Screen 1. Cool. Now, I am curious if I click config again, we just get back to those things. I'm just going to click on home. So we're now in it with it's configured, connected to MQTT, don't have any tiles on the screen. Right. Let's see. Now, there was, then go to the Node-RED flow. Okay. Now, thing is, this Node-RED flow, sorry, I'm simultaneously, and why is Node-RED Flasher not quitting? Oh, okay. That's just the Python thing being strange. All right, sorry. Now, so I'm pretty sure, my brain is misfiring again. Austin, I'm sure that you sent me some Node-RED stuff. I can't remember in what context you sent it to me. Was it over Discord? Possibly. I'm not sure. So let me, while my brain is trying to work that out, I'm just going to pull up Node-RED, my local Node-RED installation, and so this is running on my local Node-RED, which is in a Docker container running on my Synology NAS, and you can see some of the things here in this flow controlling stuff around my office. In fact, one thing that I just added yesterday, this is one of those things that it's one of those really super obvious automation things which I just hadn't done yet, and I've been intending to, and it took me like 2 minutes, and I should have done it ages ago. Yesterday, I added this extra device called Bench 1, and it's kind of like a meta device that encompasses different things on my workbench. So you can see here it's linked to the hot air, the oscilloscope, soldering iron, preheater, and power supply 2. And it's linked to the off channel, or the off message for all of those devices, and it's linked to the on message for some of the devices, but not all of them. So the result is that, so I'm going to use my voice assistant now. Hopefully it's not going to annoy anybody else. Oh, Dave Paul Jones, you made it along, cool. So I'm going to say, Alexa, turn on Bench 1. And what just happened is that it just turned on my hot air, my soldering iron, the oscilloscope, and yeah, that's it. The things that I generally need. Oh, it didn't turn on power supply 2, but that's all right. So it turned on the things that I generally need, which is these ones. And then if, for example, I had said, Alexa, turn on the preheater. Well, that would turn on, no, it didn't work that way. Let's try that again. Alexa, turn on PCB preheater. There it goes, and look, you can see the on state just happened on the preheater. So the things that I don't use as commonly, it doesn't start up. But then at the end of the day, this is the thing that, this is actually the reason I did it, because when I'm leaving at the end of the day, I manually go through and I tell it to turn off each thing, and I got sick of doing that. So now I can just say, Alexa, turn off Bench 1. Boom, and it's just turned everything off. So I can, yeah, That way I can walk away and I know that I haven't left on a soldering iron or anything like that. It just turns off everything. Cool. Austin says Discord. Yes. All right. Check Discord. I'm going to do this because when Discord opens, I don't know what channel it's going to open on or what will be visible. I just don't want to. I don't want to dox anyone with DMs and things. All right. So Austin, here we go. Right. Cool. Now, Austin has put together a Node-RED flow example. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy all of it. It's off screen for you. Oh, I might as well just download it. Here we go. All right. Show and open. Yeah, you can't see what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to show you the result of this in just a second. I've just taken it off screen because I'm not sure if there are things that should not be revealed. All right. So what I've done is I've just downloaded this, which is, as it says, node-red example.txt, and this is an example flow that Austin has sent me, and I've just copied all of that. I could just load it as a text file or whatever, but let's do it this way. And I'm going to, what am I going to do? Let's make a new flow. Oh, it's sticking it right at the end. Oh, it doesn't matter. All right, now, where is this? Where do I do this? Import, paste flow JSON, or select a text file. So I could have just selected the text file, but I'm just going to paste it anyway. Into current flow, that'll do. And here we go. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that that Austin has prepared. So we've got TP32 LWT, which is last will and testament. We've got TP32. So I'm going to need to set these up. It says edit topics here. Austin has even very helpfully put a comment in there. So let's see, what else have we got? There's an MQTT output here, so it's a publication. There's config, custom icon 2, custom icon 1, topic payload, topic, load screen, close failed, switch key code, LED controller. Oh, okay, so this is what Austin was referring to earlier, as in this all can work with his LED controller. Let's get back to that. That looks... Oh, Keith said preheater still showed us on. Yes, you are correct. It did say that. I wonder if it really did turn off or if it just failed. Oh, I know why. I know why. It did turn off, but there is a... Hang on, I'm going to go back to that flow and show you why. This is something I need to fix. So what's happening is that this is a UI element and it has a state of either off or on, and it is receiving, you can either flip it directly in the touch UI in the dashboard, or it can be controlled by voice using one of these. So what happened is that I turned on the preheater discreetly, so this still thinks that it's on, it's in an on state, even though this other device went behind its back and sent an off command to the output device. So what I need is a bit more logic in here, so that if, for example, I send an off through the like the meta device, the bench 1 device, it also tells all of these UI elements that they need to change state and that is going to off. But at the moment it's not doing that. So that was a good observation. So thank you for pointing that out, but that is the reason that is happening. It is actually off, it's just that the dashboard won't have updated to show it as being off. All right, so now we, yeah, so thanks Keith. So now we need to set the topics. Hang on. I need to cough and have a drink. That's better. Now I need to... Alright, I need to determine what these topics are. That is the first thing. So, how would I go about... Yeah, so same with the yellow on the left, all topics need to be edited. Yep. So, what I need to do is find out how to find the topic. Server, Windows machine. Okay, so because this has been copied from Austin's, it's come across as the with his connection to his MQTT broker. But I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is select the broker here, which is the one that I configured my my touchscreen for. And what I'm going to need to do is change this. So this is the particular topic. That ID, is that displayed in the screen anywhere? If I go to info, no. Although I could probably derive it because it'll be, which digits is it? There are 6 digits. Is it the, so 62, which part of the MAC address is that? What would be nice would be if the topic was displayed on the touch screen in the status screen. So this particular thing, the 624B24, that'll be part of the MAC address. It'll be derived automatically. But what I need to do is find which part of the MAC address that is. So if we come in here to the device, and so it started here, just with nothing on it, and I click on config, it takes us to this screen and it tells us about the device, including the MAC address. So I can see here the MAC on this one is 1C9D, etc. So some of that, oh, MQTT, it does say it. Oh, I missed it. So it is the last 3 octets, last 3 parts of the MAC address. So we've got, it's F9756B, and of course, F976, where was it? F9756B, 756B. So that is the thing that I want, and of course this has all been considered already by people who are far smarter than me. So I'm going to substitute that same thing in there, change that to my local broker again, and then over here, so the output here is where all of this is going to go, and I'm going to just switch that to that. There's no topic set on this one, so this will be where it goes to whatever we want to control, I guess. Yes, Austin, you're right. So topic for now, so that we can see this, I'm going to give it a topic of TS test. That'll do. TS test. So at least we can subscribe to that and then see what is going on. Edit topics here. Yes. TP config. Oh, okay. So it's sending the config to that. Done. I screwed that up. All right, I've got to undo this. I'm going to get rid of that topic there because the topics are configured in here. So I've changed the thing in there. I'll go down each of these, change the thing in there, and in here, and in here. This is really cool, Austin, and I like the way you've done this. Alright, so I've now edited all of those topics, which means that these messages that come out will have the topic set by, oh, hang on, you're not even, You're not even seeing this. Sorry, I'm sorry. What I was just showing is, on the right side of this example flow that Austin sent me, it's got a thing here that says edit topics here. And it's got all of these little nodes. And in the node, it sets the message payload and it sets the topic, the message.topic. And what I had to do was I just changed this part here. I wonder if I can make this bigger. I can. So I just changed that, which is that's how it distinguishes between different devices. It's the part of the MAC address. So I've edited that in each of these. So all of these now have the correct topic set. So if LED controller V1, I wonder if I've even got the necessary thing plugged in for that. Command topic, yeah, I'd have to change that probably, but we haven't got to the LED controller yet. We'll defer that. So I'm just going to deploy on that, see if it comes up. Oh yeah, okay. Now why did that not, is this not active? Oh, it says disabled. Alright, so enabled, and turn it to enabled, and over here, turn that one to enabled. Alright, do I need to redeploy? I don't know. Change camera view, yes. So it says it under MQTT last item. Yep. All right. Where? All right. Now, so this should now all be correct. So we've got the TP32 LWT, got the TP32, and this is how it's going to be getting information from the touchscreen. Now we've got this, which is the connection to the broker at the other end. Now, where do we go from here? Load screen, switch, etc., etc. Alrighty. Now, let's go back to this and back to home. And now we have ESP12 and toggle. Nice. All right, let's see what they do. Toggle, toggle. ESP12 gives us a color wheel and luminance and temperature control. So this is for Austin's controller right here, which is not even plugged in right now. So, oh, and also on and off. So this now gives us, control over, well, what it's doing is publishing to MQTT. Of course, nothing is listening to those messages, but when we do this, that will be sending out the messages that would be controlling this. So I guess that's the next stage. So now we're at the point where we have toggle. What's that warning about? Oh, interesting. It's it was just flicking around and trying to, it's got no IP address. Maybe it's because I was waving the cable around. Yeah, now it's got an IP again. I'm just going to hold to restart just to make sure that it does come back up properly. So now we can use the touchscreen to send messages to control things. So I suppose we're at the stage now where two things. Firstly, looking at how to customize this. So this has got some things in here already, TP32 config, custom icon 2, custom icon 1, and this is being used for the LED controller. So what we could do is look at, for example, custom icon 2, add icon, key, image, and then it's got, my guess is that's going to be a whole lot of like binary encoded data or something, which is the icon that appears on the screen. So for something for the future, I'm going to defer this for now. Something for the future is how to actually customize this and put different tiles in place and that sort of thing. What I'm going to do next is connect Austin's LED controller, because it's already set up for that. And as Austin said, and the LED controller will work fine as is, just have to connect to Wi-Fi and set config via admin UI. Yes, nice. Okay, so let's move this over to the side. So we've got the, oh, I'll move that Ethernet cable out of the way. All right, so now you've got the touchscreen there. We have Austin's controller here. And in a moment, we're going to need my phone here as well, because I'm going to need to configure this little guy here. So if I put in power, and I believe, Austin, can you tell me whether I need, what is the voltage that goes into this? Is it 5 volts? I know you told me last week, but I can't remember. That was a week ago. Hit center footer, then key code 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit center footer, then key code 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, home, screen 2, settings. Oh, into that, 1, 2, 3, hang on, 4. Enter. Heating. Oh. Yeah, so there are other things in here already. Interesting. Heating, hidden. Cool. All right. I'm going to explore that later. That's pretty cool, Austin. So there is a there are hidden screens there that are that are pin protected. Now, Austin, do I need to put 5 volts into this DC jack, or do I put in something like 12 volts and then it uses the onboard regulator? My guess is that because there is this big onboard regulator here, I can just put in whatever power is handy. But I don't want to assume. And it just says V in and, it's got V in and ground on there, which I could use in place of the barrel jack, but I'm just going to use the barrel jack. Now, what power? Yeah. I don't want to just connect it until I get confirmation that it is okay to connect power to it. Because I think this will be maybe a 5 volt strip. I don't know. Austin, please tell me, are you still there? Can I plug a 12 volt power thing into this without blowing it up? Because it's got this regulator on it. I think I should be able to, yeah, that's a 3.3 volt regulator. Although I think the voltage that you connect on here is what goes to the LED strip. So it probably needs to match whatever the strip is. Oh, the strip says 12 volts. Okay. So I think 12 volts is what I need. Yeah. There has been some buffering. Stephen said Austin may be 2 minutes behind due to the buffering earlier. Yes, there has been a lot of buffering. So 12 volts, cool. I have 12 volts on here, so I'm going to plug that in. Kadoink. So that should now be alive, I think. I can't actually tell. There's no LED activity, but I guess it's probably alive if there's power there. Let's just for my own peace of mind, I'm just going to check. I don't remember which pin is the output on this regulator. That's 12 volts in, I've got that. And that's 3.3 volts. Okay, so we have 3.3 volts, but there's no indication on the board that it's actually alive. So now I should be I should be able to pull up my phone and find here we go. So OXRS Wi-Fi I have just connected to, sign into network. No, I don't want to sign into it. It should take me to a config page. Or if not, hang on, I'm just going to grab it into a more convenient location. But if I go to a browser and go to 192.168.4.1, hang on, 4.1, and I did 193. I can't type. Let's see. All right, here we go. So my phone is now connected to Austin's LED controller, which is acting as an access point. So configure Wi-Fi. Let's do that. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to do this once again off screen. And see if I can type this without screwing it up. No, I just saw that I typed I mistyped the password just as I hit save. So this is going to be trying to connect to it's going to be trying to connect and failing. Let's try again. I know this is tedious to watch. All right. Configure Wi-Fi. Let's try again. I'm going to not say anything. Say anything while I'm typing. Saved. Okay. So this should now be joining my there's a hair stuck on the PCB. Actually, I think it's a bit of 3D printer filament. I've been printing with PETG, which is really stringy, and yeah, I've been putting prints on here and cleaning them up, so there are little bits of printer filament lying around. So now this should be on Wi-Fi, but I need to configure it to connect to MQTT. So that's the next thing. All right. Stephen W says all the ESD concerns right there. Yep. Now, okay. Next thing is I need to configure this for MQTT, so I need to find it on my network, which means opening Unify to get its IP address. Unify network. I will show you this in a moment. I hate the certificate management in the Unify management system. It is, it's just such a pain. Austin says, set up MQTT, then reboot, then go to admin UI config option, strip 1, count 5. All right. Now, I've just got to extract my password for the Unify interface because my browser doesn't remember it, because Unify's certificate management is crap. Well, it doesn't have any certificate management. So it always sees it as an invalid SSL certificate. Come on, you're a networking company, you can do better than that. What am I complaining about? That's right. I was trying to get my password to log into the admin interface, and then I'm going to bring it back up on screen. Okay, here we go. Back to here. So this is my Unify console, not Unify devices. I want to. Oh, was there an update? Oh, there's an update on the access point. Okay, so where are we? Based on uptime, it could be this one. No, that will be the, yeah, why isn't it here? Is this the classic thing where the Unify interface just does not show everything? Come on. 40 minutes and 8 seconds. This one, yeah, the one that ends in 6B, that is the that is the touch screen, but we're not seeing the controller, at least not with a valid uptime. Unified test mode, it's not showing up there that I can see. All right, now what can we do? I'm just going to check whether it is still, whether it did connect to the Wi-Fi. Maybe it didn't. Not connected. All right, I'm going to try again. So I think the thing might still be in, yeah, it's still in AP mode. That's why it hasn't shown up here. And save. All right, I've just tried it again from my phone. So I connected to the AP on the LED controller. Now, if everything works nicely, we should see a new device come up here, connected via Ethernet. No, not via Ethernet, via Wi-Fi, and that will be the LED controller. Oh, there we go. Nice, nice, nice. That's what I was hoping to see. So ESP-C8909F, and it's got its IP of .240. So let's go to that. Not found. Oh, of course, we've got to do this through the OXRS interface. So where did I have that OXRS admin? I'm going to come back in here and make that 240. Select. And now we've got the, now we can manage this. Set up MQTT. Select. It's not connected. I know. So let's make that happen. 192.168.1.185. And let's make this secret. Secret 123 as the password, of course. And submit. Successfully updated. All right, you can come back and look over my shoulder now. So we've now set up MQTT on the LED controller, and it's so if I now go back to view system, we will see nothing much. Yeah, but now, so the ID, where was it? Yeah, so you can see here, this part of the MAC address, C8909F. Pay close attention to that, because if I go back into Node-RED here, this is back into Austin's example, and I come across to here, see where it's got TP32 config. Oh no, that's not where it was here. LED controller V1, I'm going to open that. And see this? C8909F, it's the same. So the example that Austin sent me was very helpfully, and thank you Austin, pre-configured with the correct ID so that it could talk to that LED controller. So I think it's probably all working. If I start clicking stuff now, I think it's probably going to work. Let's find out. So LEDs, I'll move this so that it's kind of, hang on, let's reorient this a little. I'll bring this around here so that you can see the LEDs and the touchscreen. Oh, I'll move that close enough. You can see it there. And what have we got? Turn that on. Turn that on. Nope, we're not getting anything on here yet. Let's just reset it and see what happens. I'm probably screwing this up somehow. I'm sure I am. All right, debugging time. What steps have I missed? So Stephen said, did you admin page device config Austin mentioned earlier? No, I did not. So as Austin says, no, you still have to do config via admin UI. All right. So, and Keith says, you need a Wi-Fi internet access point. You need to config the pins using the admin UI. Yeah. All right, so back to here, admin UI, we are still on this device, and we'll go to edit config and channels to find what strips are connected where. All right, we're going, yes, Austin did say something about this earlier, and I half paid attention to it and then just whoop, skipped right on. So Austin said, set up MQTT, then reboot, then go to admin UI config option, strip 1, count 5. So he gave me all the answers. Strip 1, count 5. And fade interval, I'll just leave those, I suppose, and submit. All right. That's successfully updated. So now, if we toggle things, let's see what happens. No. Oh yes, look at this. Now we are getting colors. Whoa! It's all working. It's working. Orange. It's not really showing up on camera with the vibrancy that it is in real life. So to you, it's kind of looking like just different levels of almost white. But to me, looking at it directly, like that is a really vibrant red. It's like a slightly washed out reddish orange on the camera, but that is like an intense red. And there's green and blue, white in the middle. Hang on, I'm going to turn down the intensity because that might actually make it show up better on the camera. No, maybe I just need to turn off the room lights. Alexa, turn off the lab lights.
A couple things share that name. Backlights and garage lights.
Office lights.
Which one did you want?
Alexa, turn off the office lights. That's better. I don't even know the names of the devices. All right, so hang on. What did I just do to kill it? Did I just do that? Did my Alexa command kill that? Maybe it did. What is going on here? I don't know. All right, I'm going to reset the controller because I'm not getting anything out of the LED strip right now. Oh, it did. It turned off your power supply, as Aaron pointed out. Yeah, because this this lead that I'm using here is connected to the LED lighting that is on my workbench. So when the workbench lights turn off, I lose power on that lead. That's all right. I can fix that because what I can do is say, Alexa, turn on bench 1. And I'm going to switch to using a lab supply because then I can do this without... here we go. So I'm going to set that VSET 12. So 12 volts, 1 amp, turn it on. Because I can do that without turning the bench lights back on, which is my goal here. So let's just toggle off and on. And now we can set this. Haha, we are back in business. Yeah, I think you can see the colors better there. So I've selected a green, there's a red, there's a blue, and it fades between them as well. So nice. It doesn't just jump from one color to the next, it fades between the colors. Ooh. Cool, so cool. Right. On color temperature, yeah, because it can support. This is an RGBWW strip. It's red, green, blue, and then warm white and cool white. So you can control the color temperature. So if we went to, let's just make this white, although I highly doubt you're going to be able to see this on camera. Do is make it more of a cool white or more of a warm white. Oh, you can actually see it. Yeah, it changes. So that's cool white and that's warm white, or in the middle is kind of a neutral white. Very, very nice. Oh, and Austin says mathematical fading. Yes, RGB CCT. And as Aaron points out, all of this can also be controlled by MQTT, so you can set screen brightness based on time of day or room brightness by an external sensor. That is cool. Possibilities are endless, as Aaron says. Yes, yes. Now, having achieved this level of success, hang on, I'm going to go back to here and into config, and I'm going to turn down the screen brightness. Because the lab lights are turned off, I'm going to turn the screen brightness right down on the touch screen, and that will let you see what's on it better, because it was glaring out the camera. Alright, I now have a functional, oh yes, and as Dawson says, you can also try to toggle on the home screen. I now have a functional, so it's a toggle tile, and this is a tile for controlling the controller. Controller. Chip says, not endless, probably 65,000 odd options. Yeah, it'll be like 65,535 or yeah, one of those nice binary numbers. But it will be way more than that. It'll be, yeah. It's just the number of bits in the color control is a lot. Hooray! Now, because I've been bumbling around permutations and combinations, yes, that's correct, Chip. So, because I've been bumbling around and talking way too much, we're now at 1 hour and 40 minutes into the live stream. The first fair bit of it was not actually doing anything useful. But yeah, hopefully that has shown that it is pretty easy to set this up. It might seem like it took me a long time to do it, but it's actually not that many steps. And I tried to approach this without doing any homework first. I didn't. Oh, can you see the scanning? Yeah, there's, because of the interaction of the frequency of the backlight of my screen and the camera or something, it's being weird. So to fix that, Alexa, turn on the office lights. Bing. Yeah, I came into this pretty cold. I knew that there was a release of the firmware for the touchscreen, but that was pretty much it. So in that time, we downloaded the flasher, downloaded the firmware, put the firmware on the device, connected it to Ethernet, and downloaded the example from Austin, stuck it into Node-RED, configured it to connect to MQTT, configured the LED controller to connect to my Wi-Fi, and then connect to my MQTT broker, and it all worked. So that's really cool. Aaron said, there is a Unify style OXRS admin interface coming that enables you to control and configure all devices like you do with your Unify kit. Yes, that will be awesome. So this admin interface, which in itself is really cool, like just the fact that this works is amazing. And so you can pick a target device. So this was created as a way of testing being able to configure remote devices using the API endpoints And so what it does is it provides you a way of having an interface that you can select a device by putting its IP address in, and then do these different types of commands or different operations on it. And the operation is dependent on the type of device it is. For example, in the case of this LED controller, you can select strip indices and number of channels on the strip, and fade and those sorts of settings that are specific to that device. And if you were managing a different type of device, it wouldn't have these options in it. So this is like a little microcosm of what is coming in the OXRS admin interface, where all of this config stuff will be more like what happens in here. So in here, for example, like if I come into Unify Devices and I pick this Ethernet switch, then I can see all of the settings in it. And that is kind of analogous to coming in here and going to View System. And here we can see all that information about that particular device, in the same way that you can see the information about the Unify device. It's just that the web admin at the moment, the OXRS web admin, is pointing at one specific device. It doesn't have the bigger picture like you see here in the Unify interface, which is what is coming because smart people are working on it. And that makes me so happy that all of this is it's actually happening. So as Austin said, self-prescribing or self-describing UI, each OXRS device tells the UI what options are available. Oh, and Aaron says you can add screens and tiles via the current admin UI as well, by the way. Right. Stephen says all the rainbow unicorn poop lighting for the KOs. Yeah, they need rainbow lighting, definitely. Aaron said it's very cool and certainly serves its purpose for users to get on board now. Yeah, it certainly does. This is really, really nice. And so this view, which is like the specific device management view, will become a smaller part within the overall structure, which will be more like this. So you can select the device, because with the OXRS admin system at the moment, you need to know the IP address or the host name of the target that you are talking to. So you have to find it on your network. And then the bigger picture than that is having a list of all of the devices that you're managing like this, so that you can just pick which one you want to apply settings to. Like in this case, I can select one of these, come into settings, and then configure it. In the same way with this, you select the device, go to settings, and do things with it. So it has really come a long way. Alright, so Mr. Fixit said, did you figure out the problem with the MCP 23017s? I did not manage to characterize it. I thought that we were seeing it when I was running the signal generator into it 2 live streams ago, but I'm not entirely sure whether it really was exhibiting the problem. Ah, ooh, interesting. Austin just said give blah a URL a try. So Austin talked about this on the live stream last week, which is an endpoint for the touchscreen that allows you to remotely take a screenshot and download it, which is super cool. So I'm going to do this. I'm just going to copy this. So .239 is the IP address that was assigned to the touchscreen. Now I'm calling to the API and then snapshot.bmp. So this should pull down a bitmap. I'm going to, I'll just leave whatever is on the screen right now. So right now what's on the screen, you can see that there are a couple of tiles visible. So we've got the LED thing tile there. We've got the other screen there, which is the toggle tile. And I'm just going to call snapshot.bmp and hit enter. Oh, look at this. And there we have just pulled down a bitmap of what is currently displayed on the screen. So, and as Austin pointed out, this is so handy for making documentation, because you can make your tiles and then just pull down a screenshot directly off the touchscreen over the network and then put this into the docs. You could edit that or whatever, crop it. So cool. Now if I'm just going to make a change. So what I'm going to do is, on here you can see that the LED strip is turned on. I am just going to press that to toggle it. It's now turned off. Come back to here and I'm going to reload this. So click there, and now we can see in here that it is turned off. So Stephen asked, does it just dump the screen buffer? And Aaron said, it's great to share with others to see how creative people are being with their screens. There are some awesome examples people have been sharing on the OXRS Discord. Austin's creations, can you share? Yeah, the Discord link. Yeah, okay, so chuck that Discord link in. So there is an OXRS Discord, which I have sadly not really been hanging around in. I should have been, I really should. But yeah, there is a Discord specifically. Oh, there we go. Austin put it in. Here is the OXRS Discord. So the link is in there. If you're interested in all of this sort of stuff, go and join that Discord, in addition to the Superhouse Discord, and you can see what people have been doing. So I'm going to go and check that out. I really need to see all the things that people have been doing with this interface. Oh, this is so cool. Yeah. Now, Aaron mentioned adding tiles in here. So if we go to edit config, and this was on .239, so I've got to change my target. Edit config, select, fail to log config action. Interesting. Let's try view system. Okay, and edit config. And select, fail to load config action. Okay, so maybe there's a send command thing. Restart. Yep. Looks like I can't do the edit config through here. I don't know why that is. Yeah. So Aaron said Superhouse Discord membership is a requirement to join OXRS Discord because I'm the OXRS godfather. Yeah, I'm really not responsible for any of the hard work that has been done to make this happen. I have just been 239. Is it 239 or is it? Yeah, 239 is the which one? Yeah, 239 is the touchscreen. So how do I configure extra tiles? Get rid of that, don't need that one. We've got tiles in here, and these have been configured through Node-RED. But how? Oh, unless Austin had already configured them. I don't know. I'm not sure how that worked. Well, it's heading towards time anyway. It's 7 minutes to lunch, and my stomach is definitely reminding me. But the question is, how do I add tiles through the admin interface? Top right yellow item under payload. Okie dokie. Top right yellow item under payload. Topic plus payload. I can see now, one thing that is making all of this difficult is that the buffering earlier has caused a couple of delays. It's caused delays for people at your end, but I can see that it has also caused delays at my end, because what's happened is that the ATEM has been buffering while it was offline, and then when the connection came back, it has been starting to offload its buffer. But that means that it's behind. So I can see in the YouTube interface that what's being shown, like what you are seeing, is a long way behind me. So when I say things and when you hear them, there's probably a several minute delay. It's not quite live, is it? Not quite live, which makes it very hard to do chat and be real time talking about how to do this. So maybe that is something for another day. Peter's lunch plus 154. Yeah. Because I can see that what's going on in YouTube is way, way, way behind me. Because my as you can hear, my throat is getting sore. I think I might even wrap up a couple of minutes early today, because I do need to go and do the setup stuff for the Open Hardware MiniConf tomorrow, and I've got to do some other chores before I do that. And I need lunch, and I guess that some of you probably need lunch. But this is so cool. Just about everything that you can see here is Austin. It's Austin's expansion board there, it's Austin's LED controller, and then I think largely Moyne's work on the interface here as well. But oh, Imogen Imogen said pizza air fryer. No, I don't have any leftover pizza. The air fryer is here, but I don't have any pizza to put in it. Oh, that's a yeah. Lunch for today is a problem still to be solved. I don't actually have any idea what I'm going to have for lunch. Not a clue. I haven't had second breakfast yet either. I had first breakfast when I arrived here this morning, and then I didn't have second breakfast before the live stream started. So I am definitely in need of lunch now. Yeah, Stephen says reheating pizza in an air fryer is magical. Yeah. In some ways it makes it better than when it was fresh. I don't know how it does it. It just comes out so well. Oh, Imogen said, I've yet to introduce Chip and the air fryer. Yeah, you should. Chip, air fryers are magical things. Definitely. Yeah. Tradie Trev says I'm getting a kebab. That's pretty tempting. A kebab would be a good thing. Alright, I am going to wrap it up today, which means that it's probably going to take about 5 minutes for YouTube to catch up with all its buffering. And next Sunday, I don't know. But remember, as I said right at the start of the stream, connect with me on social stuff, like on Hub, I suppose, although it's not such a thing, but on Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon. What was the other thing that I provided a link to? LinkedIn, that's it. A link to LinkedIn. Connect with me on all those things, please. I like to talk to people. And just make sure that when you do, you say who you are. Like, if you follow me on Twitter, for example, ping me. Like, send at me a message and say, hi, it's whoever from YouTube, and I'll follow you back or whatever. So I'm going to go and try to figure out my lunch situation, and I hope you are all having a fantastic weekend, and I will talk to you soon. So, in the meantime, go and